Going to move on to the business news. Stephen Carroll is here with it, as ever, of course, on the programme. Stephen, global stock markets taking a tumble yesterday over trade tensions between US and China. Things looking a little bit better today, perhaps?
Things are calmer today, but we haven't really got share markets recovering much of the losses they've had over the past 2 days. Of course, trade tension's still the major issue for investors after those tariffs being imposed by China and the US, and then threats of more tariffs from the United States as well. In trading today in Asia, shares turning into the green as the day went on. The Chinese markets had started out in the red, but after the Chinese central bank said that the economy was in good shape to cope with trade frictions, we did see some gains. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong at 1.4%, gains too on the Kospi in Seoul and the Nikkei in Tokyo. They'd fallen yesterday too as knock-on effects of those trade worries as well. Similar picture on European shares. The markets in Europe opening in the green as well. Now, shares still down on the week. If you take the example of Germany's DAX, so it's up 0.5% today, but that market had actually lost 3% over Monday and Tuesday. So the concern still very much out there for investors, but we are seeing things a little calmer in trading today. Well, over in the United States, General Electric is being dropped out of the Dow Jones Industrial Average Stock Index. It's a symbol of the decline of a company that was once a pillar of the US economy. GE has been part of the 30 firms that make up the Dow Jones Industrial Average since 1907, but its share price has slumped by over 50% in the past year as it undergoes a major restructuring. The company is being replaced by the pharmacy chain Walgreens Boots Alliance. The company behind the index says the change will make the Dow more representative of the consumer and healthcare sectors of the economy. Now, more than 27 million euros worth of cryptocurrencies have been stolen by hackers from a leading South Korean exchange. Bithumb suspended trading after the cyber attacks from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. The company has promised that it will compensate the losses, but it's the latest in a series of security breaches for exchanges which trade virtual currencies like Bitcoin. The news had sent cryptocurrency prices tumbling again. If we take a look at CoinDesk's aggregate price for Bitcoin, of course the biggest and most famous of these, Bitcoin trading around $6,600, down around 1.5% on the day, losing about $100 after that news coming out of South Korea. So investors still sensitive to the security of the currencies like Bitcoin. In the United States Capitol, voters have approved a measure which will raise the minimum wage for waiting staff. Until now, a two-tier system has existed in Washington, D.C., which allowed employees that receive tips to be paid a basic wage that's as little as $3.33 an hour. The change will see them get incremental increases to $15 an hour by 2020. But it's been a controversial change, as Nicholas Rushworth now reports.
The whole question of tipping has been on the table in Washington, D.C., with a vote on introducing a higher minimum wage for restaurant workers who get tips. The No campaign included restaurant staff who called on voters to save their gratuities. However, the D.C. ballot passed with a little over 55% in favour and 45% against, with around 1 out of 5 registered voters casting their ballot. It means that the current minimum wage for tipped workers will go up in D.C. gradually from the current minimum of $3.33 an hour to $15 by the year 2025. There will be increases of $1.50 an hour each year till then. Voters ignored warnings that cracking down on tipping would hit the city's culinary scene.
Why not give a better wage? And I firmly believe that people will continue to tip.
People really are in the habit in this country of tipping most of the time, so I suspect that they would continue to do so.
One bar owner, Chad Spangler, said that he's earned up to $70 an hour before when he was a bartender, and that the average was around $20 an hour.
My fear is the people that this bill is specifically meant to help, those lowest earners, they're going to be the first ones to lose their jobs. And the restaurants, if they're not busy enough to make enough in tips already, when you add a giant labor increase, they'll be the first ones to shut their doors.
The city's restaurant association vows to overturn the decision. However, the labour organisation which pushed for the change is hailing a victory, saying that living off tips alone means poverty for many women, people of colour and immigrants.
India has shelved plans to sell part of its national airline after failing to find any interested bidders. The government wanted to sell off 76% of loss-making Air India, a move which would have been India's biggest ever privatisation. But no potential buyers expressed an interest. Industry experts saying that Air India's high debt levels and the possibility of government interference may have deterred investors. Well, finally for me, Amazon's Alexa could soon be taking your room service order in Marriott hotels. The online retailer has signed a deal with the hotel chain to use its voice-activated Echo devices to provide guest services, including contacting housekeeping, taking food orders, or even making restaurant recommendations. The media reports saying that Marriott had tested Apple's Siri as well for the job, but chose to go with Amazon in the end, choosing that even when it comes to digital assistants, you can have competition when it comes to getting jobs.
I'm sorry, Steve. What is wrong with the telephone? I'm sorry. You pick it up, you talk to someone. It's not complicated.
With this, you don't even have to pick it up with Alexa. You can just speak to it straight.
Come on. There's a bit of energy to walk across the room. Thanks a lot, Steve. Steve with Business Offer at 24.